Hello, welcome to another video. Welcome to day 4 of Vita. I hope you are enjoying it so far. I'm actually filming this on day 2 of Vita. So far so good. Only 2 days in though. So hopefully we're still going strong at day 4. Today, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be doing my recent reads wrap-up. This is pretty much a March wrap-up, but I'm going to stick to calling them recent reads wrap-ups. Just because I don't want to pressure myself into doing them every month, but it just so happens that I have enough to talk to you about this month. So we're gonna do that. So let's have a chat about how much I've read in March. According to my core pile spreadsheet, I read 16 books in March. I did have one DNF though, so there's actually 15 books and one DNF, with a total of 4,406 pages. That's pretty decent, and I have them all laid out around me. A lot of these have already been spoken about in vlogs. In fact, I think all of these have already been spoken about in vlogs, so you will probably already know my thoughts and opinions, but we'll just chat about it anyway. I started off the month with one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and that is The Way of the Argosy by Sebastien de Castell. I love the Spellslinger series. I love Sebastien de Castell. The fact that I managed to get my mitts on an early copy of this is incredible. This is actually coming out on the 15th of April, so still time to pre-order. But this follows a character from the Spellslinger series called Ferius. She is an Argosy wanderer, and it is her origin story. She is one of the fan favourite characters from the Spellslinger world, so going into her backstory and how she got to be who she is today is really fascinating. This is going to be a duology. This is going to be followed by the fall of the Argosy, so there's still a long way to go between where we are with Ferius at the end of this book and where we will be with Ferius at the end of the second book, because that, I'm assuming, will take us closer to who she is as a person in the Spellslinger series. But it's really fascinating to have seen some of her childhood, what her upbringing was like, and it explains a lot of why she is the way she is and who she is. So I thoroughly enjoyed this as one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and something by Sebastien de Castell. It will probably come as absolutely zero surprise to anybody that this was a 5-star read for me. I will link the vlog somewhere where I read this if you want to hear more on my thoughts, but I adored this. Of course I did. I was never gonna not. And very excitingly, I do have an interview with Sebastien de Castell lined up. It is on my channel linked. It's gonna be on Friday the 9th of April at 8 PM BST. I'm really excited. I can't quite believe that I've managed to bag myself an interview with my favourite author, but here we are. And we'll be chatting about Spellslinger, about The Way of the Argosy, things like that. So set your reminders, pop along. I am very excited, and you'll just be able to watch me flail for a little while whilst I try and work out what I did to deserve this. But yeah, 5 stars for this. I absolutely love the Spellslinger series, no surprise to anybody, so there we are. Next up, I picked up The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince by Robin Hobb. This is a little novella in the realm of the Elderling series that is set before the Farseer trilogy, which is the first trilogy in this series. So it's just a little tale with a little bit of the history, a little bit of something that happened in the past in that world, a story that's referenced quite a lot in the world, and apparently it's referenced quite a lot in the Tawny Man trilogy, which is why I wanted to read this before I go into Fool's Errand, which I'll be reading very soon. But I'm really glad to have read this. It was fantastic to be back in this world and back in the land of the 6 duchies, because obviously we read the Live Ship Traders in between, so it was really great to go back to this land in that world as well. It made me realise how much I love this world and have come to love the workings and the politics of this land. It was really an enjoyable read, not entirely what I was expecting. This is told from the perspective of the wet nurse of the Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince. So this character has seen these characters growing up and is witness to this story, and this is her truthful recounting of what happened, whether that be a pretty truth or not. But it was really fascinating, really enjoyable read. I'm definitely glad that I picked it up. It took absolutely no time at all. But I think this is, yeah, just really solidified to me how much I love this world and love Robin Hobb's writing, because it felt so easy to just fall back into it and really enjoy myself. So I'm super excited to pick up Fool's Errand now. I'm really enjoying it all. Star rating wise, this one got 4 stars on Corpile, so another very solid rating for Robin Hobb. Next up is my DNF for the month, and I feel bad about this. I was super excited about this one, but it is The Peculiars by Kieran Larwood. I got about 50% of the way through this, and unfortunately I just didn't care. My intrigue was so low that I was reluctant to pick it back up. I really didn't want to, so I just decided to DNF it because I wasn't having a great time. But this is the story of a few Peculiars. They're a band of misfits in, I think it's Victorian London, yeah, a Victorian nightly sideshow. Wolf Girl, Monkey Boy, who's the other one? Sister Moon, that's it. And they're all part of this freak show, basically, but then children start going missing and they are investigating the missing children. And I wanted that to be way more intriguing to me than it was. So I just ended up DNFing this one about 50% of the way through. I'm really sad about it because the cover is illustrated by Carl James Mountford, and I don't want to have to unhaul it because I love the cover, but I really didn't care for the book, so sadly that one's a pass. Next up, we have a stack of books that I read for Read It Like Becca, Read It Like Becca in the Books. I will link that vlog somewhere for you. I managed to read 4 books for that, and it was a little bit all over the place, a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but we kicked it off with me reading A Court of Silver Flames. This absolute weapon of a book managed to work its way onto my TBR, and I did read it. This is the 5th book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy. This one follows Nesta and Cassian, and it is all about Nesta's recovery. But let's be honest, it's basically a big ol' smut fest with some recovery sprinkled in there. Obviously for a Read It Like Becca I had to throw in some Miss Marrs, but this one got 4 stars from me and I'm kind of surprised, but I do have to acknowledge the pros and cons of it. I had a good time reading it. It was easy to gobble up. I knew the characters already, I knew the world already, I already had all of that background knowledge and understanding. If I did not, this would have been nowhere near as enjoyable for me because there was very little development on the world or the character relationships other than our main characters. It just felt really lacking for me, really lacking for Sarah J Maas as well. Like, the plot was not very strong because it was completely overshadowed by the romance and the smut fest. So the plot was not very strong, the world didn't feel very strong, and the cast of characters didn't feel very strong. But I already have a soft spot for this world, for the setting, for the characters that we do spend time with in this one. So I naturally had a decent time with it. So it managed to come out at 4 stars. I do think I will continue to read from this series. I really wasn't sure if I was going to pick up A Court of Silver Flames at all, but for Read It Like Becca it just made sense to do so. But yeah, I'm probably going to end up continuing with this series when the rest of the books come out. They are easy and fun reads, even though I can see the negatives in here as well, and this was definitely, I think, a weaker one from Sarah J Maas. The plot and development and world just didn't feel as strong, but still managed to get 4 stars. Then I read Fortuna Sworn. Again, for Read It Like Becca, this one came out at 2 stars for me. Not surprised. This was not for me. I did not feel the character relationships at all. There was not enough like chemistry or development or anything there. The plot was just full of plot holes, in my opinion. The beginning of it just reminded me of Shrek. You can watch the vlog to find out why. But this was not for me. I don't think anyone expected it to be for me though. So Fortuna Sworn sadly came out at 2 stars. I just didn't get it. I'm really sorry, but I don't understand the love for that one. So that was a pass from me, sadly. Next up, for Read It Like Becca, I read Rapsodic. This one I liked a little bit more. I think it had a little more substance to it. I liked the characters a little bit more. I felt a little bit more involved, but it still only came out at 3 stars. But I will admit that I did like it more. This one's about a girl who makes deals with the bargainer and owes him numerous favours, but he vanished from her life for 7 years. And the thing that really got me with this was the intrigue around why he had vanished for 7 years. Like, what had happened 7 years ago to let us get to this point when he then reappears in her life? Like, what happened and why? And that intrigue around their relationship is really what like kept me hooked. So it definitely had something more going for it. There was a little bit more chemistry there, but that does not mean I will say that it's not problematic, because it really was. There were a few things in that one that really got to me, and I thought that that was a bit like, eesh, not the right thing to do or say, but I appreciate it. Like, it was supposed to be that way. It did what it set out to do, but definitely have to acknowledge that some of those things were a little uncomfortable. But yeah, it came out at 3 stars. Will I continue that series? Maybe at some point in my life, perhaps, but no promises, not a priority. Came out at 3 stars. And then finally, for Read It Like Becca, I picked up Saga Volume 9. This is the last published volume of Saga. I have loved what I've read of Saga, and this one gets 5 stars. The ending of this is absolutely heartbreaking. And I can't believe that there is like this indefinite amount of time that we have to wait for this to continue. Because, like, damn, that ending. But if you're unfamiliar with Saga, it is like a Romeo and Juliet set in space. There is this intergalactic war, and these 2 characters come from opposite sides of that war, different planets. They fall in love, they have a baby, and it makes them like the most wanted criminals in the galaxy, and it is their life on the run. But yeah, the ending of this tore my heart out. This gets 5 stars. I love Saga and cannot wait to read any more of it whenever it appears, whenever it's published, whenever they write it. Because, damn. Yeah, 5 stars for that. So I will link my Read It Like Becca vlog somewhere for you if you want to check out all of my more in-depth thoughts on those. Then we have the stack of books I read for Bookopoly-thon, and again I will link the vlog where I read all of these somewhere for you so you can check out my in-depth thoughts, because I'm just gonna flash through these pretty much. I started off with Amari and the Night Brothers. This was also the middle grade monthly pick for March, so I will also link the middle grade monthly live show for this one, where you can hear me and Gav with our guest Jessica Nicole Dickerson, where we chatted all about this and our thoughts and feelings. But this one got 5 stars from me. I absolutely loved it. Completely recommend. It takes a lot for me to give a 5 star to a middle grade, so this was something special to me. I really enjoyed it and cannot wait to read more from this series. Next up, I read Monstrous Volume 2. I don't think this comic series is for me. I find it really confusing. It's too dense, too much. I really don't know what's going on, but it's about this girl who's got some sort of death god living in her, bit of a monster living in her, but I really don't know what's going on. Don't understand it. It's not for me. I did give this volume 3 stars, but I don't think I'm going to continue. I really don't think this is for me. The art style is beautiful. It really is a beautiful art style, but I'm just too confused by the plot. I don't think it's for me, so 3 stars for this one. Then I read Ellie Vance Volume 2. This is a light-hearted, non-committal comic series about a lady here called Ellie Vance who works as a valet in a seaside resort hotel. However, this hotel has some sort of suspicious link with NASA and lots of weird stuff keeps happening. But there's an astronaut that washes up on the beach in this one, and the main plot is working out why, who, what, where, what, how, when, huh? But it's really good fun. I have been enjoying this series so far quite a lot, and this one came out at 4 stars, and I look forward to continuing. Then I picked up Dragons in a Bag by Zeta Elliott. This is a young middle grade, like children's chapter book, and this was really cute. It is about what you would expect, dragons in a bag. Our main character, Jackson, is dropped off with an old family friend whilst his mum has to go out and run some errands, and she turns out to be a witch. She turns out to be looking after little baby dragons, and they need to do some realm hopping to take them home. It was really adorable. It wasn't entirely what I was expecting, but it was super cute, and I do think I will continue this series and read The Dragon Thief. But this one came out at a 3 star for me. It was super cute, just like didn't pack enough of a punch to get any more than a 3-star, but I don't necessarily have anything negative to say, but it was just cute and fun and a quick read, so 3 stars for that one. Next up, I read Lightfall, The Girl and the Galdurian, book 1 by Tim Probert. I buddy read this with Steph on a live show for Bookoplathon. It was great fun, and this was such a cute, light-hearted, fun adventure story about a girl and a Galdurian looking for a pig wizard. The pig wizard happens to be Bee's grandfather, and he's struggling with his memory a little bit, and she goes out on an errand and comes home to find that he has vanished. He's left a note and he's gone off on his own, and she doesn't trust that he will be okay on his own. He is at risk. So she goes out to look for him, meets a Galdurian, they go on the hunt to find the pig wizard. But it was really sweet, really heartwarming, and a great adventure, and the art style in this is just adorable. I just love it. It's so cute. And there's some really great like scenery shots in here as well. Beautiful. But this was such a quick read, and I really recommend if you're into fantasy comics and graphic novels and stuff. This is so cute, so heartwarming. I loved it. This one came out at 4 stars on Corpile. Then for some reason my Bookoplathon got a little bit spooky, and I read The Haunting of Evelyn Jones by Phil Hicks. This is a story about a young girl called Evelyn Jones who has a fascination with ghosts and ghost stories, and she visits her aunt in, is it Devon somewhere? I think. Cornwall or Devon or somewhere around there, and she goes to a used bookstore and picks up a book about local ghosts and legends that belonged to a girl called Primrose Pemberthy. She later finds out that Primrose Pemberthy vanished many years ago, and this book could hold the secrets to why. It becomes a little bit spooky. We have the story of the Lady in the Waves and what she might be and what she might have done, and whatever was perhaps after Primrose could perhaps also be after Evelyn now that she's stuck her nose in. It was creepy, it was atmospheric, I really enjoyed it. Definitely one for the spooky season, I think, and this one came out at a 4-star on Corpile. Following up with more spooky vibes, I read Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. This is Catherine Arden's middle grade series about ghosts and spooky things, and this one follows a group of kids on a school trip to a farm. It mainly follows Ollie and her 2 friends, Coco and Brian, and they go to this farm on a school trip that's full of spooky scarecrows, and the scarecrows are a little bit too spooky, and Ollie's got her hands on a book that details something called the Smiling Man, and this farm could perhaps be linked with the Smiling Man, and the scarecrows are definitely following you. It's a little bit creepy. So they have to defeat the Smiling Man, get away from the scarecrows, and escape the farm. Again, super spooky, perfect for the spooky season, not so great for a mid-March morning, but I had a great time with it, and this one came out at 4 stars on Corpile as well. And finally, for Bookoplathon, I read The Highland Falcon Thief, which is the first book of the Adventures on Trains series. I have my little train ticket in here. It's quite cute. But this one is about a young boy who goes on an adventure on a train with his uncle because his mum's pregnant, his mum's going into hospital, so they send him on an adventure with his uncle just to keep him out of the way whilst they've got some important business to take care of. And there is a thief on the Highland Falcon, and the thief is after expensive jewels, and our main character, Harrison, investigates because he has a keen eye. And may have unearthed a clue or 2. But it was a great sense of adventure in this, really heartwarming as well. The friendships that are developed I really enjoyed. I did predict a part of this, but I didn't predict it all. But I had a really fun time with it, and it's definitely inspired me to want to read the sequels. So we'll see if I get around to that. But 4 stars on Corpile for this one as well. I had a really good time. And that takes us to the last book that I read in the month of March, which is Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. You can see all my tabs in preparation for the Truthwitch live show. Obviously, I have read this for the Witchlands along, which I am hosting along with some of my fantastic friends, Becca, Ashley and Cody. Truthwitch was our March book, and the live show will be on the 10th of April at 9 PM on my channel. But yeah, this was a reread for me. The first time I read this, I DNF'd it. The second time I read this, I absolutely fell in love. This was my third reread and I fell in love all over again, and now I've read the rest of the series up to date, I can see things in this that obviously I couldn't see before, so the reading experience on this one was fantastic. I had a great time, and this came out at 4 stars on Corepile. I'm pretty sure that's the same rating I gave it before, so I don't think that's changed. I really enjoyed this series. It's about these two witches, Safi and Azul, and Safi is a Truthwitch, which makes her a rare sort of witch, and she's quite sought after in this empire that's on the brink of war because she could be used as a political pawn quite easily. So she's on the run, but her and Azul are pretty bad at this, and there's quite a number of people after them. The politics of this world are really interesting. I really love all of the elements of the witchery as well, and the relationships that are formed along the way. I have a super soft spot for this series. It's one of my favourite series, so I can't wait to dive back into Windwitch and reread that one as well, because I've been having a great time. But I also am really looking forward to discussing this with the ladies, because I'm not sure if we all feel the same way, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, 4 stars for Truthwitch. And there we have it! There is my recent reads wrap up for the month of March. Ta-da! Hopefully this hasn't been too long or too boring, but I just wanted to run through all of those. Now I need to somehow squeeze them back into my shelves. Wish me luck on that one. But if you've read any of these, if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share, please let me know down below. And also let me know what your favourite book you read in the month of March was. I think mine was definitely The Way of the Argosy. Come on. But yeah, thank you ever so much for watching and hanging out with me for a little bit today. I hope you are enjoying Vida, and I will see you again tomorrow.